Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. He's been gaining media attention as he leads his closest rival with 20 to 30% in the Mexican presidential elections. He's been dubbed the Donald Trump and more applicably the Bernie Sanders of Mexico. Economically, his platform reflects that of Bernie Sanders quite identically, with increased social spending and raising taxes on the rich, while also favoring a renegotiation of NAFTA to favor Mexican farmers that have been taken advantage of by the deal. Obrador's popularity very much reflects the increasing restlessness and lust for change that betrayed Mexican citizens feel as their government has done nothing, absolutely nothing, to combat cartel powers, assist poor Mexican families so that they don't have to jump the border, and has allowed predatory corporations to outcompete the local farmers. In addition to his revolution-inspired socialist policies, and instead of wanting his people to stay, he wants to argue with Trump about working with him to create a job program for illegal immigrants to find work. He does not believe in having these criminals, these invaders, given back to where they came from, ostensibly downgrading the national sovereignty of Mexico. Not to mention, he wants Trump to actually invest in bilateral job investment and infrastructure programs for Mexico when we have our own infrastructural issues that we need to deal with. Seems kind of selfish. Funnily enough, Jeremy Corbyn, the Hamas-supporting feminist, socialist, atheist, Labour Party leader of Britain, who is good friends with Obrador, and the same man who is good friends with dictator of Venezuela, Maduro, who literally can't help but eat empanadas on live TV while his country starves, has been called the ideological twin of Jeremy Corbyn. This advent of socialism sweeping across South and Central American nations is a last-ditch resort that these poor, forgotten people are going to. These nations are only setting themselves up for failure as they elect corrupt, selfish, ideologically blind scoundrels that will only choke their economy, leading to more food shortages like in Venezuela, and eventual civil wars throughout these nations. The best we can do in this scenario is cut ourselves off from the barbarian hordes. These people are cut from the same cloth as the barbarians that invaded and immigrated into the Roman Empire, leading to the Roman identity being useless and meaningless, and nobody having faith in the infrastructure of the empire. If we want to preserve the freedoms and traditions that have made America great, free, and innovative, we must close the borders and focus on our own people, and not the invisible GDP and bidding of the rich that leads to these illegals destroying our culture, values, and taking our jobs and ruining our infrastructure. It's not that Mexican, Central American, South Americans are bad or inherently evil. It's that these nations are full of people who, well, they're really nations that never had the same value structure and just properly executed revolution that America had. And subsequently, most of these nations have gone through leader after leader, dictator after dictator, that has mostly brought them to, if not a mediocre lifestyle, it has brought them to an absolute shit lifestyle like in Venezuela. If we want America to reflect the values that it was built on, we can't let people who do not represent those values properly come into our nation. It's as simple as that. The fact that people want to make a very simple issue complex beyond our fucking imagination is only going to lead to more white noise within the political discourse of the U.S. The one thing, if anything, that the left and the right wing has to unite on is the fact that we love our Constitution, that we want a future dedicated to a similar goal, and to not be so completely opposite. Because right now, right around half the country is in favor of open borders. And there's no way that you can spread wealth so thin. And it is not our moral obligation to help people that, one, do not represent us, but two, don't even care to live up to the same quality of life that we live. They don't want to speak our language. They don't want to take care of our infrastructure and environment like we do. They want to live an easy life. The only way that you can be a left-winger nowadays, a leftist, is to have a sort of suppressed guilt about who you are. And the way that these people with suppressed guilt show that they're supposedly moral people is by being so self-gratifying, self-aggrandizing, and constantly showing that they are better people than their adversaries. And this kind of pageantry where they constantly, especially white liberals, white leftists, show off their moral superiority is by whining about the fact that they're the representatives and protectors of an oppressed people. Right now, there is no government-oppressed, societally oppressed people. At this point, it's man versus man. There is no societal oppression. The best societal suppression that you can even argue for is the fact that white people are silenced, mainly white conservatives, and that traditionalism and Christianity and the founding morals, and really just traditions and principles that of freedom of speech, freedom to arms, freedom to a trial and jury. That freedom is completely denounced by the left. They don't believe in equality. They believe in, well, really nothing. They're nihilists that have a horrible amount of guilt because they don't know how to find meaning within their lives. And so they take it out on people who are just trying to do their best. It's getting really scary, folks.